So good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Friday here. I want to talk today about what happens when cutting calories feels unbearable. So I was 346 pounds. I was a binge eater. I was really an abusive eater. I ate myself up pretty heavy. And now as a coach, I work with a lot of people that are trying to lose weight, right? They want to lose weight. They go on the internet and now they go on AI and it gives them advice. Cut calories, cut calories. We all know that we need to refine our diet in kind of a general sense. So then they go out in real life. We go out in real life. We're equipped, I have to move more and eat a little bit less. But there's a disconnect because a lot of times we feel so super hungry that we don't know what's going on, and cutting calories doesn't feel sustainable. So, in this video, I want to give you guys some of the best advice I can give you on how not just to cut calories, but to maximize food volume, because this is an important aspect of trying to equip ourselves with a sustainable eating lifestyle. Now, I want to say anytime we're going to try to lose weight, the reality is there's going to be some periods where we are going to feel hungry. And the thing I want to stress before I get into this information is we need to kind of assess those times when we are feeling hungry. A lot of times, if we have a lot of downtime, we tend to mindlessly snack. And, we have to kind of plan for those times. A lot of us will just eat a lot, snacking at night in front of the TV. We have to kind of plan for that and do something that will either equip us with a better snacking ideas or do something that's engaging the brain a little bit more, like reading a book or even playing video games. It doesn't matter. Something that is a little bit more engaging. But that's a topic for a different video. So let's dive into things. What to do when cutting calories feels unbearable. Now, what usually happens is we enter a diet or a fat loss or weight loss period. And I did this for 17 years, where we have a toolbox of things we like to eat, and we're just trying to compress that. We're trying to cut calories with our existing toolbox. I did that for 17 years. I got out of the military around 1994, and I slowly started to gain weight. I was moving less. My weight creeped up to 270 and then eventually 290, and at my worst, 346 pounds. And I would always be like trying to cut calories with my existing toolbox, eating the same types of foods. And this was never sustainable for me. This just never felt like it was comfortable. I could never unlock why. The biggest issue I want to establish here is that we are trying to solve a major problem with a toolbox that might need to be replaced. And when I say might, I'm being polite. We probably need to replace our toolbox, and I don't want that to scare any of you. I'm going to show you how to replace the toolbox and still be satisfied with what you're eating. So we want to focus on the whole concept of building a new toolbox, and this is going to involve foods we like. But the cornerstone of building this toolbox is maximizing food volume. Okay, so a lot of the foods we were eating, and it's going to vary for everyone, of course, but a lot of the processed foods and fast foods and junk foods and snack foods tend to be very calorie dense. They don't tend to have a lot of food volume. And because they aren't as calorie dense, it opens the door for us to eat more during the day. And this is one of the major issues we get into. So the new toolbox, we're going to focus on foods we like, but we're going to try to increase the food volume. And I'm going to give you some tools on how to do that so you can place those in your toolbox. Now, I have to state, we're trying to lose weight, so this isn't going to completely eliminate hunger. And it's going to require some effort, and it's not always going to be easy. But it is the best way to make weight loss and fat loss far more manageable. And you can see on this slide, I have change requires change. And we do have to change. And I know that's scary. When I say replacing the old toolbox with a new toolbox, people automatically default like I have to eat foods I don't like or eat a lot of broccoli and then go back to normal eating. It's not about that at all. But if you never replace the old toolbox, or if you think, I'm going to diet and then go back to the old toolbox, you're setting yourself up for failure. That's not realistic, and that's the best way I can put it. It's simply not realistic. The old toolbox was putting food in your stomach, but it was also killing you, and that's a reality we have to process, we have to establish as a baseline. Now let's talk about the things that people believe are the problems. So they dive into this diet with their old toolbox, and it's not working right, and they feel like they're lacking discipline. And yeah, that can be a part of it because you have a lower food volume because you have that old toolbox. So it can feel like you're not being disciplined, or you don't have the discipline to adhere to this. You're going to notice that your appetite is strong. And the way we're going to battle that is with this new toolbox and focusing on food volume. But the problem is not just your appetite, it's the way you are eating to address the appetite. You're not getting in enough food volume. You're not getting in enough satisfying food volume. A lot of you will feel like you're just simply incapable of eating less. And it's never easy to eat less. That's one of the problems we're trying to solve here with the new toolbox, to maximize the amount of volume or food we are eating and not make it bland or boring. And a lot of people believe that the problem is that successful weight loss is just going to require endless, constant hunger, hunger, hunger. When you dive into a change, or you dive into this new toolbox, there's going to be some hunger. And generally, we have to fight that as best we can. But I'm going to show you how to minimize that. I'm going to give you some rules and a strategy to build that new toolbox. So whatever your old toolbox is, whatever the foods you're eating and the lunch choices, when I say these choices, don't have a lot of food volume, they have a lot of simple sugars and simple flours and processed foods, really calorie dense foods. Processed foods and fast foods tend to be more calorie dense. So what I mean is that if you have a portion, something the size of your fist, that type of food tends to contain more calories relative to that portion size or that volume size, if that makes sense. So what we're trying to do here is take that same portion size and reduce the overall amount of calories in that portion so we can actually eat more volume. And the way to do this is replacing some of that fast food and that junk food with things that we enjoy that are sustainable. So here are the basics, the plan of attack, something that you need to keep in mind. And I want to stress this is not a carved in stone set of rules. This is a good starting point. We're not trying to create some eating disorder or you have to hit these levels. But I'm going to show you why, by taking these numbers seriously as a starting point, you can maximize food volume. And I'm going to show you how these numbers can just inherently or naturally reduce the processed food that we are taking in. So here are the 3 tools you're going to need to put in your toolbox. And we're going to go over each of these individually. I'm just going to address them really quickly. Number 1, we need to try to get our protein intake up to at least 35% of our daily calorie intake. This is going to require some monitoring, some self-accountability, maybe an app to obviously monitor calories and macros. And I'm going to get into why this is important. But you need to tag team this with trying to get your fat down closer to 20% of your calorie intake, at least during the weight loss period. It's not that eating fat is evil. It's nothing like that. It's no old school, nutritional nonsense. But as I said, I'm going to get into why this is important here in just a second. The second tool in the toolbox is that we want to build a food list, and this is highly personal. We are going to go through and find choices that we like as far as protein foods, as far as veggies, fruits, even dairy to a degree. We want to find foods that we look forward to eating. And this leads us to tool number 3. We're going to use this to build flavorful meals, repeatable meals, things that we look forward to, that taste good, that aren't just some bland chicken breast lying in a plastic Tupperware container. All right, so let's look at tool number 1, and that is a food volume focus. By bringing your protein up to 35% of your daily calories, this is going to force you directly, indirectly into eating more lean protein. And this is what we want to do. Again, there's nothing wrong with fatty foods, but that combination of increasing your protein to at least 35% of your daily calories, reducing your fats as close to 20% as you can. This is going to allow you to eat more lean proteins, which is going to create a lot more food volume. It's going to kind of push you in the direction of relying on a lot more quality veggies and fruits. And this combination is just going to increase the overall amount of food volume that you are taking in on a daily basis. Basically, it's almost impossible to hit these targets relying on fast food and processed food. We're going to be pushing out all the unwanted extra fats that are just stuffed in junk food and fast food. And by relying heavily on protein, this is going to push out a lot of the white sugars, white flours, things that just have calories but no nutritional value and really don't fill us up. There's a difference between eating a grape and eating a candy bar. A grape, the body has to process it. It has to digest it. It's not just super fast digesting. And a grape has more food volume. It has more volume in your stomach, takes up more volume in your stomach than just eating a candy bar. And this is a very important change. So, tool number one, we want to track and we want to try to get our protein to at least 35% of our daily calories and our fats down to about 20%. You're going to find that you're going to rely on lean proteins. You're going to rely on a lot of fruits and veggies, maybe even things like potatoes or rice or oatmeal to a degree. But this combination is going to be far more filling than trying to take your old toolbox of the fast food and junk food you're eating and just trying to reduce that calorie intake level. All right, so tool number two, we have to build a food list, and this has to be of things we like. We established that we need to focus on lean proteins and more fruits and veggies. But when you say veggies, people kind of default to, I have to eat broccoli, I have to eat carrots. It's not like that for me. For me, it's like anything that's plant-based that I enjoy. Like for me, I love jalapenos. I get these big jars of jalapenos, and you probably aren't like me, but I can put a lot of jalapenos on my food, and it adds a lot of flavor, and it adds food volume. Things like onions do the same thing. If you like onions, add onions, and it doesn't have to be broccoli and carrots. It can be onions and jalapenos. When I'm in a pinch, I will eat pepperoncinis or put pepperoncinis in my food, or pickled pearl onions, roasted red pepper at the store. You can get jars of that stuff. You don't even have to prepare it. And it tastes great and adds a lot of flavor. Even things like pickles. You can find red onions at the store, in the pickled section. Now, I'm not trying to push you, down this aisle specifically, but I just want to stress that when we are looking at food choices, we have to open the door a little bit. It doesn't just need to be broccoli and carrots and cauliflower. It can be grapes and raspberries and frozen fruit and jalapenos and anything you like. You don't just have to eat salads and broccoli. And when it comes to lean protein foods, we don't have to just do the same thing over and over again. There's lean pork, there's lean pork loin, there's chicken tenders. Obviously, you have egg whites, but egg whites are kind of boring. You can combine them with eggs and you can get some really good lean protein. I mean, even Walmart and Kroger have things like 95 or 98% fat-free ham, which is extremely, extremely tasty. And obviously, we want to minimize processed food as much as we can. But, there's things at Walmart and at the grocery store like the packages of deli meat, which are mostly just meat. You can find it mostly just meat. And it's very low calorie and very filling. Things like Greek yogurt, great choice. Cottage cheese, a great choice. Greek yogurt is super high protein, not a lot of extra calories, and so flexible. You can take Greek yogurt and mix it with a sugar-free sauce to add creaminess and flavor to your dishes. I take Greek yogurt and add it with hot sauce, and sometimes I just put that with a lot of tomatoes, and that's kind of a spicy snack for me. The fruit-flavored Greek yogurt, that works really well. You can put that on a protein pancake or a protein waffle, or just eat it with mixed berries. So the key here is to take time. We want to find at least 5 lean protein foods that we really, really like, and at least 10 fruits or veggies or even low-calorie filler foods that we really like. And this is our starting point. This should be our starting point. And I want to stress, this is a process, so don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. This is just a starting point, and we need to be patient with ourselves and give ourselves some time to figure out what we like and don't like and what is working and what isn't working. So now that we have our food choices and we have our macros adjusted, 35% plus protein, trying to get our fats down to 20%, now it's time to do some work. You need to take these food choices, and you can go on the internet or you can use AI, whatever you feel comfortable using. But let's build out some tasty meals that you look forward to. We need repeatable meals of things we look forward to. I don't want these to be bland. You need to get creative. I use a Mexican seasoning. There's so many dry seasonings that can add a lot of flavor. There are so many low sugar seasonings and sauces that you can use alone, or you can mix with Greek yogurt to add that creaminess and flavor. There are so many ways to add flavor, but we need to go on the internet with our food choices and find repeatable meals and repeatable snacks that we look forward to, that we actually find ourselves craving. And if you build out these meals and you find you don't like one of them, get rid of it and try something new. Sometimes the choices are so obvious, they're right in front of our faces. So like chili. I love chili, and when it comes to meal prep, it's so easy to just make a big crock pot of chili that will last forever. Chili can be super, super healthy. You can put in your stewed tomatoes or diced tomatoes or green chilies or jalapenos or onions or even green or red bell peppers. Even a little bit of adobo sauce, or if you're lazy like me, sometimes I just pour in a jar of Mrs. Renfro's green salsa or a jar of paste picante sauce. Low calorie food volume. In here, you don't have to add fatty beef. You could add super lean beef or chicken or turkey, or even turkey sausage or chicken sausage. You could really add in anything. And flavor wise, it's just great. You can add in a ton of protein. You can completely customize your chili. And I don't know many people that don't look forward to it. But these are the types of strategies we need to think about. Repeatable meals that we enjoy. Take time, build a game plan. When I say repeatable meals, you want to be able to come home from work and know, like, I have 3 or 4 things I could make like in 10 minutes or that are ready for me that I really, really look forward to. I do coaching for a living, and a lot of days I work 12 or 14 hours, especially on Tuesday or Thursday. I keep these microwavable rice containers, and I keep instant potatoes. Not the best choice, but they're better than nachos, and they're better than ice cream, and they're better than fast food. And I will keep in my refrigerator 95% lean ground beef, steelhead trout, which I absolutely love, even those packs of 200-calorie lunch meat. I keep all of that stuff around because I know how to flavor it. I know that I like it. And when I'm really, really lazy, I'm going to be honest with you, I do Campbell's Chunky Soup. You know, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's better than high-calorie junk. They have, you know, like chicken gumbo soups that are 290 calories a can. I literally can take 2 of these, put it in a big bowl, put in a 80-calorie pack of Greek yogurt, stuff a bunch of peppers and onions in there, maybe even one of those small 220-calorie microwavable rices, and I have like 900 calories. It's super, super filling and tastes amazing. So that's it. These are the 3 tools that you need to start with, and it's time to start building your toolbox. Come back to this video if you're confused or if you forget things. But just remember, you don't have to just complete your toolbox overnight. This is starting point information. It's a process. Don't get frustrated. Try new things. Try new seasonings. Walk through the store slowly and experiment. Look at labels. Find things in the store that just don't have a lot of calories that sound great to you. There are things like a spicy marinara sauce that I find at Kroger that doesn't have a lot of extra sugar, and it tastes just absolutely amazing. So many ways like this to add flavor to your food without going down the fast food or junk food trail. So a couple things to end with here, and I stated this at the beginning. The goal isn't to eliminate hunger. You're going to have some hunger during the normal weight loss process. But by creating a new toolbox, you're going to have more food volume, and the choices you're moving to are going to be choices that you like, are going to help you fight hunger with food volume and with flavor. We don't just want to eat less, we want to eat differently and build a toolbox that is sustainable and enjoyable. And remember, if you want to take weight seriously, you have to have a new toolbox. You have to have a new lifestyle. You can't continue to eat like you used to eat and expect to hold your weight. This doesn't mean you can never have cheesecake or you can never have nachos. Once you get to your goal weight, we can master the art of maintenance. But to get to your goal weight or to get to a healthier weight, we need to build out this toolbox, no exceptions. So before trying another diet, you came here like watching this video because maybe of the title, and you're like, I just can't sustain with this lower calorie stuff. So before trying another diet, I want you to write down 5 lean proteins you enjoy. This is your homework. 10 filling fruits or veggies or low-calorie foods you enjoy, even like Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Build out meals and snacks from them and take your time. Don't rush. Don't make stuff you don't enjoy. Don't put together meal plans of things you don't enjoy. And commit to refining this over time. You need self-accountability. You need to understand this as a starting point, and you need to understand it's going to involve refinement. So that's it, guys. I hope this video helped in some way. Drop a comment down below if you have some favorite food choices that you like or ways you like flavoring your food. Let everybody know. We would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.